Hello everybody, my name is Lisa Felser and this is my friend Lotus.
Hello.
And Lotus is here to help me teach you how to teach the next steps in the lesson plan, which in this case are steps 7 through 9. The review, introducing a new concept, and creating word cards or word lists and what you do with all that information. So for this part of the lesson, you will need your filled out lesson plan, the tutor lesson instructions, turned to page 10, page 9. You will need your recipe for reading book. Open to the appropriate page, which in this case we're going to introduce QU. So I have that on page 71. And then you need your grapheme card for the concept you're introducing, which again is QU. You need your screen, your letter for tracing, and your rapid word sheet filled out, or you can do index cards, either one. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, so the last time we got together, do you remember what concept we talked about?
Mm-hmm. The soft TH sound.
Very good, which sounds like? Excellent. So I have on this rapid word sheet, the first 4 lines I have filled out with the soft sound of TH being the top line for review. That's the review portion. And then some additional words for review. You don't always have to have this many review words, but in the case of our new concept QU, there are only a few words that we can read at this point. So I wanted to fill up the page a little bit. You don't need to fill up the whole page. Depends on the level of your student and their tolerance. Can you read the first line for me, please?
Beth, math, path, thin, thug.
Very good. How about the second line?
Zip, vet, vat, them.
Very nice, very nice. You have definitely kept those concepts in your brain, have you not? And we'll put that aside for introducing the new concept. So the first part of introducing the new concept is to read the phonemic awareness portion at the top of the page in your recipe for reading book. So I would like you to listen to this set of sentences and tell me what the sound is that you hear at the beginning. Ready? Mm-hmm. Quentin quilts quickly. Quiet queens quit quarreling.
Qu.
Qu. Do you know what letters create that sound?
QU.
You are correct. So here's our grapheme card, QU. So I brought you an object, a picture in this case. It'd be hard to bring the whole thing with me, to help you remember what QU says. And what is that?
Queen.
Right. And so if you need a key word to help your student remember QU, queen would be a good keyword, but we need a motion too. So what do we think would be a good motion for queen?
Queen.
Oh, that's good, like a crown, right? Good. All right, so that can be your motion, and see, we just made it up on the fly, which is okay. Whatever suits your student best. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about letter formation. Q is one of those letters that might be problematic, kind of like B, D, and P, because sometimes Q is often confused, especially when it's missing its tail, because you turn it any which way and it can be anything as far as P, B, and D, right? So we're going to practice Q. I set up my card with the green letter on it, and we put it up under the screen. For the second part, let's stand up and do our big cross-body motion. Remember, when you do cross-body motion, that it helps activate both sides of your brain and gets the information in more solidly. Ready? Q. Q.
Q.
Good job. And you'll notice that Lotus is left-handed, so she uses her dominant hand to make the Q. Now we move down to smaller motions and trace that with your finger on the screen, please.
Q. Q. Q.
Excellent job. And she used the pad of her finger. That's where all the nerve endings are. And again, it does that auditory, visual, and tactile senses working all together to get the information in better. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to brainstorm some words that start with qu. And for this particular instance, when you're doing this part of the brainstorming, You can use these words, but you're going to need some more. Those are unfamiliar words. So I made a little list in case we couldn't think of any on the fly. So help me, let's figure out what kind of words can you think of that start with qu?
Quib.
Quib. Quib. Quib or quip? Quib. Quib. All right.
Quick.
Quick. So you'll want to do maybe 10 words or less, depending on your student's tolerance. And if you think they've got the idea, obviously, she has the idea. So we stop. Now, why do you suppose Q and U are together? Have you ever seen Q without U?
No, because they're married.
They're married. Yeah, you're right. So you have a little story in your volunteer training binder, also in your students binder. It's called How Q and U Came to Be Together. There's also this cute book that you don't necessarily have, but you can get, The Wedding of Q and U. But you want to read one of them to your student and help them understand that Q and U always go together. And this one is called How Q and U Came to Be Together. And it says, Q and U once made a bargain. It was very long ago. And so you would continue to read that story and help them to understand that Q is never without U. Not in any English words that I know. And then you're going to move on to the reading portion of your lesson. Remember, you have this filled out rapid word sheet. You could have also used index cards filled out with words if you wanted to do a word sort or do something like that. Just depends on what you or your student prefers. But we already started with the rapid word sheet, so we'll finish. So please read these QU words at the bottom of the sheet.
Quit. Quiz. Quip. Quag. Quid.
Good job. So there's a couple of unfamiliar words in there, quag and quid. Quid is British currency, by the way, and we already talked about what a quag was, right? That's the marshy mud. So if you look in your recipe for reading book, when you choose your words, remember, always choose your words for this part of the lesson from your book. Don't try to make anything up, because you know that whatever is in here, they can read. But there's an asterisk next to some of the words. That means that they have the definition written in a glossary in the back. That concludes this part of the lesson. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at lisa@yorkcountyreads.com. Thank you for helping readers grow.